There was never any confusion. You never had any choice anyway. The only miracle is that you fall for this crap. You don't have to leave a message at the beep. I knew you were going to call for crying out loud. You're still dazzled by card tricks. You should know better than to give a 50-year-old man the time of day as if he could do something with it anymore. And by the way, the question is, can you afford to rhyme? The question here is, can you afford not to rhyme when it's about attitude, it's about family, it's about you, it's about pretending there is a community to which you can give back when you know that it's really about money. People, let's face it, I'm not going to lie to you here. The bottom line is we're in business to make money. And as soon as poetry starts to make money, turns laughter into money, love into money, hope into money, life into money, water into money, joy into money, war into money, peace into money, prayer into money, we'll all be in the Moon June prune business, pissing ink curlicues and acting impressed by seagulls and how well you describe a night of stars without ever feeling obligated to leave the planet at all. We're lazy laggards in this loop. We're in the loop, this loop, where little comes to light. P.S. Hey, thanks for the heads up on that rhyming thing. We're live here at MTN, and in the greatest tradition of American half-assedness, we're fully unrehearsed, unprepared. We're winging it here. Got the Viking over here. I don't know what the Viking is up to, but we'll figure it out in a little bit. First piece was written about 6 weeks ago. In fact, on March 12, 2004, when the last big snowstorm, maybe the only big snowstorm we had this year, was melting, and I went outside, and on the meridian, everything was melting away, and there were just a few things that come up from that grit. In the melting snow on our meridian, I find a UPS delivery slip with all inked clues smeared off. Could have been for us or a neighbor, a birthday present, a package of those 13-gallon white plastic kitchen garbage bags, or a javelin. I pick up Tess Walker's Visa card. I should try to let her know from my Ritz-Carlton suite in Zurich. The unexpired card's in perfect shape, under grit of sand, salt, dead macadam cells, tinsel from Christmas. I find a sticker from the garage sale we had last spring. Lots of trash. A cigarette lighter, a marble, a red pen. It's like that junk drawer in the kitchen out here. I collect the litter that cars shed, crushed cans and wrappers, enough cigarette butts to glue together into enough Lincoln logs to build a cabin. It's so sunny and warm that there's just one real pile of snow left. And because it's part of the very snow that snatched Tess Walker's purse during a blizzard when no one can see what snowmen grabbed from the drifts, I look at it and I wonder what's inside. Could be sunglasses in there, a kickstand, the first dead robin of spring. The pile looks like and is the size of a 13-gallon white plastic kitchen garbage bag filled with crumpled up birthday wrapping paper, and of course that is what it is. I must have just brought it out myself. I blink, I squeeze my mind, I look again, and no, it's not a bag. It really is the remaining pile of snow on our meridian melting. And yes, I do confuse this with that. But when I remember that the missing package couldn't possibly be a birthday present for anyone in our house because all of our birthdays are months off, I feel almost awake again. My head thaws in unexpected spasm. The icicles that built up along my hairline over the winter snap off and acupuncture my shoulders. Up and down the avenue, neighbors reappear with the pre-season bugs. And way down the block, I see the first Anderson of spring pick up a pretty big branch from his meridian, mistake it for my javelin. He shakes his head, realizes it is just a branch after all. I can hear Winter packing up shovels. I can picture Tess Walker somehow tracking me down in Zurich. I can feel another year slapping me just hard enough to get my attention. I went to Redondo Beach a couple of months ago and ended up teaching 6 one-hour classes to advanced placement English, literature, and psychology students. Did I say it was a parochial school? All the nuns are undercover nowadays. And everybody, before I did these classes, wanted me to review questions the students had turned in that they had for me as a poet. They had seen some of my poems beforehand, looked at my books, and they had written questions in the preceding weeks. And the head undercover nun, and my friend the teacher, and the head of the department all wanted me to look at the questions before I did the classes. And this is what's wrong with everything. Like you can't get up honestly in front of people and just talk and answer the question on the spot and say what you think. What a betrayal of youth. I wouldn't look at the questions, and of course I made a fool of myself, but at least I was my own fool, as I am here loud and proud today. Now, in not being rehearsed for this, I asked the Viking if the Viking would be doing something as well while I'm reading these poems, and the Viking said that he would be counting as high as he possibly could quietly while I'm reading these poems. So that's what's going on with the Viking. This next piece is about a financial planner. I don't understand anything at all about money or financial planning or responsibility or the gross national product or contributing to it, and I'm only lucky to be employed. Maybe I'm not lucky to be employed. But my wife, kind-hearted spirit that she is, asked a financial planner to our house, and this is about my trying to get or endure or put up with this person coming to our home trying to sell us stuff I don't understand. It's called Low Goals. I told him that I don't get financial stuff, that the little that I do get doesn't stick. But because he is somehow someone with whom Dawn is familiar, I said I guess he could come by if he insisted. Sure he did, so here he is to help us plan all kinds of things involving life and death. A nodding church in suit and tie and tassel leather loafers with prophetic jokes and bobble-headed harmony. He's talking about savings and investment, conservative risk, annuities, securities, relativistic baccarat, and IRA rollover, sit and shake and sign right here. Dawn politely listens, even asks a question now and then like she's a Venusian too. I'm stupefied by how little I know, how easily known the things I don't know seem to be. I just can't get the crystal clear that others get without struggle, like the point behind a lawn, a suit, a job, the words, this guy set sail in Gulf Stream tide. Though I think I look comprehending with nods here and there, I must look perplexed because he asked me if I have a question. And I do have questions. I have a few about Etruscans, Chappaquiddick, Dora Maar, Stonehenge. Who really wrote the Spoon River Anthology? Why do birds suddenly appear every time you are near? But I don't ask these. He won't know. Instead, I say that money's hard to get for me. I joke by adding I have to work for it. That, like I told him on the phone, I do not get financial stuff. I wasn't kidding. I find investment strategies impractical ways to best embrace the future. That buying intangible goods underwritten in large part by whim and wham of society best described as disoriented seems risky to me. And I mean, after all, economic abstractions make Jackson Pollock seem like a hyper-realist. And as I continue to talk, I notice that financial planner guy who looks like he's looking at me isn't paying attention at all. His yawning pores and snoring brow are rolling with my gestures. His eyes lock and flow with every flourish of my fingers. I move my left hand and his pupils follow like tethered dogs. He probably isn't listening to a damn thing I'm saying, but half of the time neither am I. Dawn asked the guy, can you explain the opt-out on an R2-D2 form via Worksheet Rider 3? And as he answers, I pretend I'm in a Twilight Zone episode wherein I win $100 million and I hire this financial planner guy to stabilize it for me, keep it safe and let it breathe. He says he will, and he gives me a ballpoint pen, an emery board, and a pocket planner which amuse me for years, while unbeknownst to me, he steals and squanders, destabilizes, misbreeds, loses every single dollar that I have. And just before I get wise to it all, one of his long-forgotten schemes, by total fluke, pays off 1,000,000-fold. Overnight, he undoes all the damage, sets things straight and healthy, wealthy, too. After the final commercial, oblivious to his misdeeds, I fire him anyway because he can't get me refills for the ballpoint pen. We cut to Rod Sterling voiceover, cartwheeling in my ear like Dawn. It's Dawn saying it like she's saying it to a recalcitrant parakeet. She says, Your art collection, Tom, your art collection has value too now, doesn't it? Sure it does, I say, to the right collectors. Financial planner guy looks puzzled, so I offer a nutshell history of anti-art ending up in art museums, and of course the nutshell's very big, including comments on my extensive collection of aesthetic ephemera, to the importance of Duchamp, to people who like Thomas Kincaid. And I notice that again, his low-beamed eyes fix on my hands. I make an exclamation point with a wave, and his eyes follow. I doubt that anything I say is more to him than his talk is to me. But he's a pro and wants to keep awake, and so he says, I own a wildlife print too, a beauty, a loon out on a lake. It looks so real, it's magnificent. This blows a fuse inside my head, but I just smile and wonder how a bird that's flat, rendered 1/10 actual size on a quiet, dry water, same time and temperature for eternity, can strike anyone as real. And when I try to picture myself, I mean as a picture, it's not representational at all. It's a twisted, hailing sound of chalk tea in a cobweb-covered bonfire in a basement. If you know your stuff, he adds, that's great. But we put a certain amount of money into life insurance, too. My wife carries about $300,000 worth, and I have several policies totaling, I admit it might be above average, $42,873,200,009. But I do, he pauses, have high goals. Aware that I do not, at least not in this competition. I cough. I try to guess if our 4-month-old daughter wants me to buy bigger, better, thicker, shinier coverage. The advisor's guy's indulgent smile suggests we're mishandling not just the baby, but the full ramification of death itself. That I need less mirage and more map. That I shouldn't let tomorrow get to me before I get to it. And he responds to my distracted mully, a common side effect of low goalism, with subliminal nod. At least I think they're subliminal nods. I finally tell him that he's right. What a wretch I am. That I do not get financial stuff. I barely get how grapes dry into pickles. How poems shouldn't be short stories with punctuation disorder. And as I continue to ramble here and there, I notice again, he's zoning out. Watching every movement of my hands, I lift or drop. He won't let go. I make a swiggle in the air. His eyes roll right along with it. My hand is a baton conducting him. He might be fully hypnotized. I think he's out, says Dawn. I make a circle around his face with open palm. His eyes roll like they're Ferris wheels until he slumps and snores. Let's get to work. We dress him up like a hobo. Mess his hair up, smudge his cheeks, splash him with whiskey, Mr. High Goals. With nest egg plopped from the butt of death, we drag him out the door into the lawn, leave the whiskey bottle with him. Dawn calls 911 and explains how this maniac won't go away, how he's terrorizing us with papers sure to cut, threatening us with our own future. He's totally nuts, probably on something. Looks like he might be drinking. Because she looks slightly concerned, I tell Dawn, hey, don't worry. He's the only person on earth who has coverage for something like this. She says, we'll look it over. Thanks for coming. And I snap too, staring at his outstretched palm for several seconds before shaking it. I'm saying thanks, yeah. Dawn adds, I think I understand that R2-D2 rider worksheet now. And I nod and smile in agreement, my head a sort of wind-up toy on nights like this. Okay, Viking, how high have we counted so far? 2,431. That's pretty good. This piece was written 7 weeks ago, before the piece I read earlier on about the snow melting on the meridian, when we had the biggest snowfall. In our old house, we got ice dams on the roof. It's called Another Nail. It's March 2004, and spring, and finishing a new poem. This poem, for crying out loud, a new poem. And the Garden Channel have given me hope that maybe things are better, somewhat, that maybe I can calm down a bit. and take my time to compose a really good letter to the editor sometime in July. I mean, maybe it'll never snow again. And now here's the poem. I'm chipping away at the goddamn ice with hammer and screwdriver. I might accidentally smack a hole into the roof that will cause the entire house to someday flood and drown. Had I raked all of the snow off of the roof 2 nights ago before it petrified, I wouldn't be wailing away at it now. But I was cold and weak and lazy then, a dreamer who believed that a prudent, though simultaneously half-assed raking was all that the forecast warranted, because the forecast didn't mention another half foot of snow and glaciers. I can only feel my fingers when I hit them with the hammer, and whenever I convince a big chunk of ice to shear off, the latter snarls against the gutter, even moves. Our neighbors must have better insulation, heated roofs. Our ice dam removing elves, the yuppie bastards. No one else is out here railing, fighting back the sky. Just me. What will someday happen is the house will swallow too much water, only flail a bit before it grabs our eyes and chairs and pulls us down. It loudly gargles, everybody in the pool. And finally I shout aloud, goddamn ice! And other voices yell right back. At last, other voices, that miserable company thing, that fellowship of me and my own stupid echo. Written in March 2004, upon the completion of my standing up to the cold, dark winter and hammering the prints right off of my fingers, because I am unable at this moment to write more effectively about stopping war without getting arrested. And who has the time for that with metaphors all over the roof and rabid public relations everywhere, and so insidious that I wish this very poem had a big opening day. But how can that ever be again, when we're more likely to absent-mindedly remember a soft drink jingle than the best moment of our childhood, or the shimmering snapshot of love? March 2004, when I should instead change. When I should instead change myself in the world. When I should instead change myself into the world. Or at the very least, change these words into more than their parts. I mean, why can't I just write that it's the war overhead? Not the snow. It's the war that threatens the house. And I'll tell you why. It's because I have poetry in the way. It's March 2004, in spring, and finishing a new poem. This poem, for crying out loud, a new poem. And the Garden Channel have given me hope that maybe things are better somewhat. That maybe I can calm down a bit and take my time to compose a really good letter to the editor sometime in July. I mean, maybe it will never snow again. Viking, how you doing over there? Up to 3,520. That's not bad. 3,600? The Viking's going to start over. You don't have a lot of time there. It's called They Laughed When I Sat Down to Stay. I love those commercials. It's about community, it's about you, it's about us, it's about trust, and it's usually from the most heavily moneyed bastards on the planet when it's not about any of that. This goes back to the opening piece. They laughed when I sat down to stay. It's about truth. It's about friendship. It's about letting the world know that you've arrived. It's about knowing where you've arrived. Let's face it, it's about staying fresh. It's about security, because it's no longer just a matter of a good sound system. It's about family. It's about keeping fit. It's about pushing your own limits and being sure that Todd Jr. over there doesn't. It's about the smile you've always wanted and the lifestyle you deserve. No, really, I mean it. It's about fighting for what you believe in. It's about trust, you suspicious bastard. It's about news you want, you narrow-minded hick. It's about community, you co-op kissing, shareware tithing commie. It's about value, you cheap son of a bitch. It's about security, because it's no longer just a matter of a good sound system. Oh no, it's about a sign on the lawn that means there's an alarm, a visible surveillance camera, and a good sound system that sleeps soundly. It's about clean air at an economically sustainable level, you lung-kissing idiot. It's about pushing the limits, you un-American recycling cheapskate, rule-busting bozo. No, really, I mean it. It's about fighting for what you believe in, so long as fighting means getting huffy and weepy on talk radio about goddamn right I'm proud. It's not about anything. It's about making as little a difference as possible. It's about working more for folks who need no more. It's about eating whatever the hell the cow snorts. It's about how much or how little beer it takes you to get God. It's about being your own boss when it comes to bagging leaves, snarling at coworkers saying you like Leno or Letterman. It's about crap in a can and crap in a seminar and crap in the corridors of power. It's about healthy kids you can screw up. It's about feeling your heart get slugged like a punching bag. It's about waiting for every word to mean something different than it used to, something worse. No, really, I mean it. It's not about fighting for what you believe in. It's about fighting to stay awake, to breathe, to get by, to believe in any of it at all. It's about diamonds and oil and sweat and jails and the mummification of the poor and the damning of the brilliant and the killing of people who hope and dream and laugh and weep and see the same stars out of different windows. It's about bigger, better, stronger, leaner, meaner companies with cool names and real estate interests on Mars. It's about respecting others out of fear or ignorance. It's about choice, providing the choice has to do with whether or not you want processed cheese on your burger, a regular Coke or a Diet Coke, or a one-way ticket to traditional hell, or a one-way ticket to the new improved hell with hexachlorophene. It's about getting straight and staying straight with the blessing of pharmaceuticals. No, really, I mean it. It's about fighting for this much peace and quiet. It's about fighting with demons, God-tamers, robots, bullies who grow up and become bigger bullies, shadows, gravity, know-it-alls, and know nothing. And it's about time we wrap this up. I have to get up early for a meeting about marketing. And it's going to be about, well, you know, it's going to be about everything because it is about everything. Everything is about everything. It's about caring. It's about lending a hand. It's about the ass-turning bust you've always wanted. It's about making $1 million with no money down real estate so you really can change the world any way your limo-riding heart desires. And somehow it's about what we do with images and words in our little design department that doesn't want to be little or even limited to design anymore. And I'm sorry this is so long, but it's 1:45 in the morning. And because it really is all about fighting for what you believe in. And in this case, what I believe in, I'm fighting to go to sleep. And I'm fighting to stay awake. And frankly, I'm fighting for fighting's sake, because it's the last security system I've got between me and the awfully peaceful outside world. Viking, how you doing? Back to 7,312. That's good. All right, 2 more short pieces. Well, maybe 1 more short piece and we'll talk to the Viking. Instructions for war. Flannel sheets of snow shift on yards, the street lamps issuing ribbons of charcoal. I try to hear the news in background. When carolers appear, radios in their midst, full blast. I open door, douse them with rum. I brought full boil on my rib cage. They have beady little television sets instead of eyes in their sockets, blue and flickering, flannel sheets of snow, box, bowels. Others can look at same scene, yet see more, tell you what kind of shrub the shrub is, makes of passing cars. I try to hear television bulletin background. When Paperboy arrives to collect, rings bell, shouts 50 cents for all you know. But I don't think he's buying. He means all I get, or see between. Flannel sheets of snow, box, vowels, nod and thank, close mind, nail and pray, write, soon, sleep, burn. Ghosts appear so real to some people, they don't look like ghosts dressed and ready to serve. I try to hear hour-long special report when soldiers storm in, bark back at the dogs, snap tapeworm whips, skate room to room like sails, like flannel sheets of snow, box, vowels, nod and thank, close mind, nail and pray, write soon, weld and carve, guided missile, drag, sleep. We are powerless against nature. Dress for its arrival, shovel its wake. We both bring flowers, leave too soon, immediately think of something else. I try to hear a cable broadcast when the air raid sirens sound to announce the close of school because of flannel sheets of snow. Box vowels, nod and thank, close mind, nail and pray, write soon, weld and carve, guided missile, sleep and drag the burning chair and sleep. Viking, how high have you counted during our program? 16,432,004. Please get up, stand behind the chair, and reveal yourself. One more short poem while the Viking bows. Yeah, I know. People walk their pets. Lawns sip fertilizer. A mower down the block hums and chews. In the middle of the night, when everyone else is sound asleep dreaming unreal things, I'm awake and watch the calmly burning people walk through walls. Transient nightlights. I know I need sleep or counseling. A fear of aging brings the burning people, each of them a candle on the cake. But what I want to do is have a party. Blow the candles out. Get these folks to mix. The pet walkers with the aflame. The lawnmowers with the people filtered by walls. The more or less real with the more or less unreal. The living with the dead. But which is which? I don't know what to serve at such a party. A punch of something borrowed, something blue, ordinary and miraculous, but I can mingle well. I sleep and burn in the middle of the room while everyone else hums and chews. Thank you very much. Go to an open mic, speak your mind, get involved in politics, get involved in community, go to a different neighborhood, go to a linkscape. For God's sakes, do something new, do something different, speak with people with whom you do not agree. Thank you. Thank you, Viking. I will never count you out. Inge Cassidy, thank you very much.